Hi everyone, welcome back to another video, and we're looking at another cool gas blowback today. And this is along the lines of the MWS sort of platform, but today we're going to be looking at a slightly different system, and this comes to us from the guys over at Evike Europe. This is the CYMA CGS MWS system. This is the first time we're going to be looking at this platform, seeing how it performs and everything like that compared to like a standard, original MWS system and the clones of that MWS system. And this review sample was very graciously sent to me by the guys over at Evike Europe. There's no bias for me to say anything good or sugarcoat anything with this replica. They did supply the review sample to me, but there's nothing written where I have to say good things about anything like that. All they've asked is that I tell you about a promotion thing that they're running in the month of April. So they're going to be running a promotion on the Evike Europe website called Evike Europe Days, and there's going to be loads of discounts all over the site, and it's going to be running from I think April 16th to April 30th, and there's going to be all the Evike brands like the 6mm Pro Shop, Cybergun, EMG, Matrix, and all the stuff that they offer. They do stock a lot of items that you get in Evike in the US, sorry. So most things that you get at Evike US, you should be able to get on Evike Europe, but you're getting quicker shipping times and it's readily available over in Europe rather than having to import it from the US, because that can sometimes be problematic. So this video is going to be going up around about the April 15th, but it's been recorded slightly beforehand, just in time for their promotion. And as on top of that, they've also offered a discount code on the site, so you can, if you're a Jaeger Precision viewer, you can insert the code Jaeger5, so Jaeger, which is Jaeger, all in capitals, and then the number 5, no spacing. And that will give you 5% discount off the whole site, except things that are like already on special offer, things that are sold out, the epic deals, and I think they do something like the box of awesomeness and stuff like that. So they asked if I could help promote their event that they're putting on. I said yes, of course. So this is a CYMA CGS MWS. This is the Noveske that they do. And the things that were supplied to me as review samples to take a look at this platform was the Noveske and a couple of spare magazines, which are these like the Lancer 300 blackout magazines, which are very cool. Getting stuff through brands like EMG. EMG is a well-known brand now. They license a lot of stuff, so they have like the permissions to put all the markings and everything like that. Everything on the replica will be correct because it's a licensed replica. Now, I haven't experienced anything with the CYMA CGS platform before. This is a first one, a new one to me. So you guys know I will have jumped at the chance to take a look at this. What is it? It's a gas blowback M4 platform. They don't just do the Noveske. In the CGS lineup, it's quite impressive, the CGS lineup. They do a lot of different models, everything from older stuff to newer stuff to, Mark 12 SPRs, all that good stuff, especially the Noveske products. So there's a lot to offer there. But what I'm most interested in is how does this system compare to the Marui system? Does it work as well? I do like the look of the magazines. They look pretty cool. Are these cross-compatible? We're going to do so many videos on this platform to test all that out, to show you lot. But this first video is going to be just, an on-the-bench review in my normal, format that I usually do. So I'm quickly just going to change over to the other format I do for the unboxings, because unboxing is very difficult on this bench, not a lot of space because of all the clutter. So you can hate me in the comments down below. So we'll just cut to that where I'm unboxing this thing, show you what you get in the box, and then we'll come back and carry on with the review. So this is what was sent to me. So we've got a CGS, which I presume is the CYMA system from EMG, and a couple of extra magazines. You'll see here, these are the CGS mags. These are 300 blackout mags for the TMMWS. I've heard a lot about this CYMA CGS system and people saying that it's not compatible with Marui, so it's going to be interesting to uncover that. And this is how it comes in the box. You've got a M4 style speed loader in here with the usual EMG certificates there. We've got a magazine that comes in the box with it as well. I'll just take this out here. And I really do like this, I like these Lancer mags, the way they look. Hopefully these mags are cross compatible with the MWS, but I hear very different things here and there. Also, we get the gun, so always out the plastic here. Bear with me. And this isn't the first Noveske that I've had, but it is the first CGS I've had. So one thing I'll say about the CGS system is, I know some people like it, some people don't, is the amount of models that they do. So they do an absolute ton of models, loads of different variants. So it would be beneficial for this to be, you know, work out good. Just pop the mag in there. And there you have it. So you get an unjamming rod in the box as well. I don't see a manual, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't come with one. But it's not the end of the world. So we'll go to the bench and we'll take a look at this thing. There are some things that I have noticed straight off the bat, and we'll talk more about this lovely replica that was sent to me by Evike Europe. So we'll see you in just a moment. So yes, this version of the platform is very new to me. One thing I will say, first picking this up, is this thing is absolutely rock solid. There's nothing that moves or rattles or anything like that, barring the stock. And I think it's a simple thing. It's when the stock's been, you know, put together at the factory. With these sort of crane stocks, what you can see sometimes is where the lever's a little bit loose, and you've got a tiny little sort of Allen key there, which if I get, I think it might be like a 1.5. What you can usually do on these is you can back the grub screw out, and when it's been assembled from factory, it's just these haven't been wound in. Now you'll see I'm turning it, but it's not actually turning on the stock itself. It's not adjusting. So if we pull this stock off by pulling this lever down, they usually have a hole in the top. And what we can do is we can slot in a flathead screwdriver. There's a little slot that you'll see on that piece there. We can lock that in, and I'm hoping this works. If we hold that in, it might be thread locked. I think it possibly is. So if we hold that in place, we might be able to use a valve tool in these slots. I think we might get away with it. If it is thread locked, I'll just need to heat it up a little bit. But yeah, so they have glued it in place. That's not a problem. All you'd have to do, if this does bug you with this being slightly loose, it's a little bit better off the rifle because it's not currently sat in the slots. You just need to heat it up a little bit to break that adhesive. But many of us out there, myself included, would be changing this out for something else anyway. So we'll pop that back on there. So a full metal replica, as you'd expect from like a GBR like this. So everything's metal, barring, I think the iron sights are plastic, the grip of course, and the crane stock. The crane stock is your usual like 5-6 position stock. If it's, you know, similar to what we get there. And, you know, you've got lovely 300 blackout markings on the dust cover, and you've also got the Noveske logo on the bolt there as well. So you've got EMG training system there, you've got safe semi-auto, you've got the Noveske markings on the body pins. It's almost reminds me of a Magpul trigger guard there, but you've got the Noveske logo on that. Noveske logo on the grip. Now the grip is pretty much identical to the Magpul K2. I'm not sure if it's the K2 or the K2 Plus. I did have one around somewhere, so we'll have to get back to that. But the rail, it's a 9-inch Noveske NSR rail. You got EMG training system on the bottom there for airsoft use only. That's the only marking that bugs me. And I imagine they do that so that you're not fitting these rails onto the real counterparts. But it would be nice if that wasn't there. You've got your Noveske markings on the receiver, on the upper and lower. You've got model N4, safe semi-auto. And of course, you've got the EMG serial number, which this is 210. Much like the double eagle that we looked at, you've got a silver barrel. You've got a 14mm counterclockwise thread, which the birdcage flash hider does have a gap for a grub screw, but there isn't a grub screw on there. It looks like they put like a little hole for that grub screw to grab as well, but it's not a problem at all. Screw that back on, and let's test the bolt. So seems to function nicely. We've got some metal parts in there with like a purple hot rubber, and we can lock the bolt back like so. We've got a Noveske charging handle as well. So Noveske through and through. I think on the double eagle we didn't get iron sights, and usually the iron sights that come on the replicas like this, I mean the front one has a nice click, but the back one, there's no click on its upper setting there. You can change the aperture by flipping that over to like a peep sight and just reduce the diameter there. You're obviously adjustable left and right. I don't think it adjusts up and down. I think it's, you know, you would be doing that adjustment on the front one, which you've got a little dial, as you'll see here. It clicks, so you just turn it up and down there for your elevation. And the magazines, so I can't remember which one I took out the gun. That's got a bit of gas in. That's got no gas in. That's got no gas in. So we're going to put a bit of propane in here. So you'll see the magazines are quite nicely presented. You've got this sort of translucent outer shell. This is a sticker behind it which has 300 blackout sort of dummy sticker rounds on there. But it's very nicely presented indeed. To fill it up with gas, what you do is you push this little button in the bottom here, and you can pull that off. Actually move. So I think maybe if we remove that, we can fill it up without doing that. Or if you want your valves hidden to make sure you don't get any dirt ingress, you could just put this plastic piece back in like that. And to fill it up, I'm going to take out a propane can, and we're just going to fill it from the bottom. This already did have a bit of gas in, and we'll quickly test the recoil on this thing, or the blowback action. So we're empty. We can flick it to safe, to semi even. Drop the bolt. If we shoot it, obviously it'll lock back, which is it's got a nice strong action there. The kick on this is very, very good. Very, very good out the box. And yeah, locks back on empty, of course. Before we chrono this thing, we'll just pop open the receiver. So we're just going to punch this pin out. You can't do it with your fingers, you'll have to use a pokey tool. So we do that, and then we should drop the bolt first, be able to open the receiver like this. So what you'll tend to see is when you have lower receivers that have these little nubbins on the receiver there, what these tend to do, or why a lot of manufacturers do this, is when you close the receiver, it like pre-tensions the front pin, and it takes a lot of slop out the upper and lower receivers. So it looks like we've actually got adjustable parts here. There's no Z plate style on this system. So you've got a normal style bolt catch. And we can pull the bolt out here to show you. Looks very reminiscent of a MWS. You've got the T8 mark in there. You've got a screw on the back here, which is interesting with a thread. But everything else kind of looks like a Marui. You do have a porthole here on the bolt. Do I have a Marui bolt? I do have a Guns Modify one here, which you don't have on the Marui styles. And the incompatibility with the bolts will be to do with where the Z plate normally catches here. This version, or this iteration, or their design around the MWS system doesn't have the Z plate, so it catches actually on the front of the bolt. So that's why these parts won't be interchangeable. It would be interesting if we can pop a normal Marui trigger group in there. Will it work, and what's compatible? We'll obviously get to that at a later date. But a very nice looking bolt, actuates nicely. The charging handle's very good. It's nice and light. The double eagle ones were quite heavy. And I'm familiar with this style of adjuster because I've got, I think, T8 adjuster in my M733 because it was pre-built by Boom Arms. So it looks nice and good there. We do have a bit of lubricant on the hop. And basically what you do to adjust this, instead of having a little wheel, you just put in a flathead screwdriver and it rotates like this. Doesn't really give, you can feel it slightly click into place, but it's not as tactile as the normal adjusters. You can place this back in here, slide that back in. And with the trigger box, the trigger has got a much heavier pull compared to them. I need to get a trigger tester, don't I? It's got a much heavier pull, but the brake is right there. So if you like a nice, strong, tactile trigger, you're going to love this trigger. If you're not a fan of heavy triggers, though, the brake and the reset on it is very good. It's just got a slightly harder trigger pull. If we look in the back here, we have a T8 buffer. These have multiple components. Take a quick look in here. So it is weighted, and you have a spring, a weight, a spring, and another weight. And they do this to try and minimize bolt bounce. And you can just unscrew that and screw it back together. So you can't feel the weights move when you do that, but a rubber buffer on the back there. And this holds nice and securely when the upper is open. So in the bolt, I'm not sure if they have an adjustable valve. I can't see one in there, but we'll get to see. And they've done this system basically to just try and make the system simpler. We are, boasting a lot of steel parts in the trigger box. Is the trigger steel as well? Yeah, so it's all steel internals on the trigger parts. Mincing my words here. What about the bolt? What we're looking at here? So we have a steel bolt as well, which is nice. So I'm not sure on the retail price of these things. They tend to be around about the same, I think, as a stock MWS, depending on where you get it from. Obviously, standard Maruis will be getting more and more expensive by the day. Right, let's see if we can use an easy loader. Will this work? It looks like it might. So we've got some 0.3 gram BBs, and it doesn't quite line up. So something slightly different on the mag, which isn't an issue. Try it again. No, it doesn't want to fill up, so that adapter won't work. We could try a PMAG one, see if that works. No, that doesn't work either. So for easy loaders, you're kind of stuck. It did just come with a normal speed loader in the box, so you might struggle to fill these mags. Can we fill it from the top? Not quite. Oh. If we angle the speed loader just slightly to the back, can fill it in the top. Just about. It is a little bit of a nightmare to do so, but I'm sure there are ways to fill these mags. Loads of people use them. So 0.3 gram BBs, we've got propane in the mag. You'll load a round in, and we'll get our chrono. No idea the power on these things, but we'll see. We'll set to 0.3s, and we'll see how this thing does. So we are a little bit on the high scale, so we're at 1.6 joules. 1.6 joules. 1.6 joules, so about 340 feet per second on a 0.3. Hopefully they take, downgrade valves, impasse valves, all that stuff. So just do a quick burst of auto. And I tell you what, the kick is quite violent on these. I kind of like it. Very interesting. Of course, it will help with a weighted buffer and a steel bolt. The only thing I'll say negative about it at this point is the rifle is slightly bent, and it's to do with the stock to the receiver. Now, I did notice this when it first turned up. I, of course, inspect all packages that come in just to make sure nothing's damaged, to get that feedback back to whoever sent it, whether I bought it from a shop or they've sent a review sample. So I did notice this when it arrived. The gun still functions perfectly as it should. It's just a slight kink from the stock tube to the receiver, which I did take some photos, so I'll try to remember to overlay them on the video for you. But honestly, it feels good. The magazines seem to work really well as well. I can't speak on the performance of the hop system. I do have a T8 adjuster in my M733 because that's just how it came from Boom Arms. I think I had the stock Marui hop rubber in there, and that system actually did work pretty well. I was only using 0.3s at the time, my M733, but they did come out nice and flat. I could hop higher weights, so in terms of the adjuster and the hop unit itself, I know they work perfectly fine. I mean, your hop rubbers and inner barrels, most people tend to swap them out anyway. But we've got a couple of mags, and I really do like the look of these mags, and it would be interesting to see at some point the compatibility. So I'm just trying this because it's next to me, but Guns Modify Scar, it does go in. I'm not going to shoot it. It is a little bit loose, maybe. But what I'd like to do is, obviously I want to compare it with a normal Marui mag. Now, people say they're very different. Off the cuff, it looks like the gas router sits a little higher, but in terms of the position, it seems okay. Now, what I can test, MWS, standard Marui MWS mag, seems to work just fine. Let's see if we can feed it. So we'll take out our trusty adapter. I'm going to need some 0.3s, which I'm running out of. So we'll tip some of these in here. Could use the Vanguard, but for a quick test, I don't think it really requires it. So propane in this mag as well. We've got some 0.3 gram BVs, and you'll see how much easier that is to fill. Let's see what we get on the power. So can you use your Marui MWS mags in the CGS system? Well, let's find out. Hopefully I don't destroy the mag. Got a bit of spring twang, which you get on all MWS replicas. It's easy to fix with a bit of grease. So we set to 0.3s. Let's see what power we get on an MWS mag. 1.582. 1.571. So you're within like a couple of FPS in terms of difference. That could be due to valves on the mag. It could be due to the router just being a little bit lower. But in terms of the feed, it works absolutely fine. So if you have already a bunch of Marui MWS replicas in your collection and you don't want to, you know, buy a gun and have to, you know, commit to buying, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 20, however many magazines you guys buy, and you order one of these and you've got a bunch of MWS mags, it'll work. Now we can test, because I have it with me, we can test a salvo mag. So let's test the salvo precision mag real quick. I'm hoping this has got gas in it. So we'll cut a couple of rounds in there. So that's salvo precision. The rounds do like to jump out, which is annoying. And we can also test a Guns Modified PMag. Now, we've done a lot of testing with these easy loaders for the PMags, and it's not actually a fault of the loader or the feed lips from what we can tell. So I was trying to modify this thinking they'd change the feed lips and such. I think what they've actually changed is the BB track. And it's almost like trying to fill a Glock mag, like a TM Glock mag from the top. The way that they stack, I think they're just forcing out and getting stuck. So you can get a couple of rounds in, which you'll see here. But after you get about 10 or so in, it just goes stiff. And it's not because of the adapter, it's not because of the feed lips, it's because of what's going on in here. And that's not so much of an easy thing to fix for something that sits on the top. So we might have to look, see if we can slightly, maybe a small modification might work, but you know, on another day. So salvo precision mag. Quite want to go in. Let's hold the bolt back. So why does that mag? MWS Marui goes in, holds, salvo doesn't want to catch, so something's slightly different here. So salvo precision mag won't work. Guns Modified PMag will, and it's a really good fitment. So Guns Modified PMag, we're still set to 0.3s. 1.589 joules, so about the same. So you're not really seeing much difference at all, and the guns seem to run. So feeds, stops on empty. It's what you want, isn't it? So mag compatibility, I mean, on the short term scale of things, seems to be fine, apart from the salvos. So I imagine the double eagle mags are also going to be the same in terms of compatibility. But TM mags you're fine. So I don't like leaving magazines loaded, so we're just going to quickly get rid of these out of the salvo. Oh, no I'm not, because it's got no gas. Let's get these out, because I don't like leaving mags filled up with BBs. I know this isn't anything to do with the review at all, but let's just get it clear so I don't have any shoot later down the line and forget that the mag's loaded. There we go. You want to always make sure when you're storing guns and mags that they're not loaded, because you know, you don't want to have a negligent discharge and cause injury to yourself or others. But yeah, I'm very, very surprised with what you hear online about these CYMA CGS systems. Is you always seem to see bad stuff, but so far this thing is pretty cool, apart from the slightly bent stock. I'm not sure if that's just the way that they've inserted the stock tube. We could try some of the stock tubes and see if that fixes it. It could be that the lower receiver was slightly mismachined or cast. But in terms of performance and how it feels, this feels bloody fantastic. The kick on it is immense. And yeah, we've got a couple of mags out of that, haven't we? So thanks for tuning in. We'll be doing more on this, don't worry. I don't know if it's worth me stripping all these parts out and trying to put Marui bits in, because it doesn't really make sense that you would buy one of these just to completely gut it, because there are already Noveske products on the market that just accept TM stuff. So I think you just leave it as it is. Leave the trigger pack as it is. Leave the bolt as it is. You can use your MWS mags, although these mags look cool, don't they? They're cool AF, and I think, you know, if I was running it, I'd be wanting to run it with these mags because they just look fantastic. Now it goes on to a long-term review. We'll also do strip down videos if you guys want them. This was very graciously supplied to me by the guys over at Evike Europe. It always helps the channel when we can get review samples, because, you know, buying this stuff in, it does get expensive when you're buying a lot of it. So very big thank you to them. Go show them some love. Their event is going to be ran from the April 16th to April the 30th. You can use the Jaeger 5 discount code if you want to get a bit of discount on their store. So they were very, very nice of them to supply that. Not everybody does that. And thank you for tuning in. Let me know down in the comments below what you think about this, and make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribed. Check out the link in the description. I'll also put all the info that I've talked about today in the link as well. And as always, from me and Bench, we'll be seeing you in the next video.